Orange County and the Hudson Valley's hometown station, Wall Radio. It's 11 minutes past 9. It's Thursday morning with Van, and I have a wonderful guest in the studio right now, a very special lady as far as I'm concerned. And what a talent she has written, produced, directed, and acted in a play that is going to take place Saturday night, my friends. Her name is Monet Gray. And, welcome to the show, Monet.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's so nice to have you here. It really is. If, with your permission, I'd like to read something from this.
Sure.
It says here, A Child of God, which is the name of the play. A Child of God is a story about a group of diligent social workers working for the administration of child protection services. They each personally dive into a reality of abuse that's much deeper than what's faced in their line of work, forcing them to heal, love, forgive, and accept their calling as children of God. So obviously, the play is about abuse.
Yes, I would say mostly domestic violence and other forms of abuse as well.
Tell us about the play.
Okay. Well, as you read, it is about victims overcoming domestic violence. I tell all stories. You know, there's two women that have gone through domestic violence, one with her boyfriend, one with her husband. And then I also tell a story about a man going through domestic violence. He has his wife who verbally abuses him, mentally abuses him. And I make sure I discuss all forms. And in the end, how they get healing, how they can forgive, how they can move on in life and realize their value and calling and their self-worth.
Time marches on. Time has changed a lot of things. People have changed over the years. Mm-hmm. I mentioned to you off microphone before that this is not the same world that I grew up in.
Right,
it's a complete different world. But along with all the different domestic type abuses, there is a person in there that makes it a lot easier, I think, to deal with, and that person happens to be God, our Lord. Mm-hmm. Now, for those of you that are listening that don't believe, we don't want you to get upset with this, but we're just talking about the play that Monet has written and co-starred in, also, actually. Right. So, abuse nowadays, especially domestic abuse, there's zero tolerance. Right. And that's a good thing, because as far as I'm concerned, it should have been like that all along. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the message we spread, to make sure that no matter what they're going through, that there's hope, that they can get out of it, and to press forward by any means necessary. That is our motto for this play, by any means necessary. No matter what you have to do, what you have to go through, make sure you press forward. Make sure you realize that your value is, important, not only to you, but to others around.
Now, the name of the play is Child of God.
Yes.
And how much of an important role does God play in all this with your play?
Well, to be honest,
I don't want to be redundant in saying that.
It's funny. To be honest, God is really brought into the message of the play towards the end. In the beginning, in the middle, you really see the struggles. You really see how each actor, how each character goes through the scenarios that they go through. I can't really say they're looking towards God. They're at their lowest point. And then we do have a character in the play called Margaret, who kind of guides them into the way to look towards him. Like, he is ultimately their help. Now, it's not only a Christian base. We do have Muslim characters in the play.
Oh, no kidding.
Right. So I know a lot of Christian plays is only focused on the Christians, but we do invite other religions into this play, because in the end, we're still children of the Creator. He's the creator of all. He's the father of the creation.
Absolutely.
So in the end, it's mostly when he's kind of brought up as, you can get out of your situation. You can find healing.
Is there anything that you would suggest to people that are listening right now, if they are in an abusive type relationship, what they could possibly do to get out of it?
The number one thing I would say is to speak up. I think that's huge because it's embarrassing. Sometimes you don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you don't want to really share what's going on personally. It's embarrassing. But the number one thing would be to speak up, at least tell someone, tell a friend, contact authorities, tell somebody that's in a position that is able to help you, because you're not alone. There are other individuals that are going through what you are going through, and keeping it inside will just have you stay in that situation. So the number one thing I would say is just talk about it. Speak up. Find a friend that cares. Find a friend that will help, and be able to talk about it to see how you can get out of that situation.
And you could probably find a group that you could get into where you all discuss basically similar situations. Yes.
And that group will eventually lead you to leave. It's not, once you talk about it, it's not just keep talking about it and still staying in the situation. You talk about it and find the strength to be able to get out of the situation.
For some people, it is so hard and to break, and I don't want to say the word habits, but being with someone who is abusive. But it's so tough for some people to make that break, to get away.
Right.
And that's why talking to somebody, I would think, makes it easier to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Keeping it in. Obviously, if you're with someone that is abusing you, that's the only one you're really talking to. And the words that they're saying could be a number of things, like, oh, I'm sorry, but then they turn around and do it again. Or, this I'm just going through whatever. Or if you leave, I will do this. They put more pressure on you to stay. But branching outside of that, going to someone else who will pretty much go against everything they told you, that will give you the strength, and that will give you the hope to ultimately leave and get out of it.
I have always felt my entire life that a man who hits a woman doesn't have the guts to hit another man is a coward as far as I'm concerned. I really feel that way. There's just, I don't know, there's just zero tolerance. It's always been that way with me. I can honestly say I've never hit a woman in my life. Wouldn't even think of it. I mean, it's one thing having an argument or having words, but I mean, I just can't see something like that. What was your inspiration to write this play?
It's funny. A friend actually just came up to me. His name is Roland Smith. I give a shout out to him and my aunt Tracy. They came to me with the idea, and they said, you know what? This needs to be discussed. This needs to be talked about. This needs to come out into the light. And they mentioned how, like I said before, it's not just women that get abused. Men get abused too. Men go through different forms of domestic violence. So they said they wanted to be able to have a platform to talk about it. And I said, okay, well, I write. I'm a writer, so maybe I can write a play about it. And I wrote it within 2 months. And mind you, this was back in 2015. I had no idea of how to put it together, who to contact, where to go to. And obviously, 4 years later, I ended up doing it. But that was just the process. Like, I ended up just writing it and then taking the time to network and be able to find someone who could be able to help me compose music. All of the songs are original songs written by me. Wow. Right. So it was a long process. It took a lot of steps, but like I said,
you were a busy lady.
Yes, very busy. Still busy. But it was all fun, and it's still all fun, and I enjoy every moment.
That is terrific. Well, you're absolutely on fire for life. For life itself, you really are. You could tell just sitting here, the two of us talking, I think you're a great lady. I really do, Monet.
Thank you.
That's my first impression of you. And, passing this along to the rest of your cast, this has got to be a great show.
It is a great show. And that's one thing I wanted to point out. I know the topic of domestic violence is harsh. It could be, an uneasy topic, but I do bring humor. We do have a humorous character that, despite all of the struggles that characters go, she makes them smile. She makes them laugh. And she brightens up their day. So I'm telling you now, it's not all tough content. We do bring, a small sense of lightness to the play as well.
Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come right back.
Sounds good.
My special guest is Monet Gray. She is an author. She is a producer. She is a director. She is a songwriter. She is a singer. And boy, is she something else. And Stay with me. We will be right back, my friends, here at War Radio. It's 9:21.
The wait is over.